Let's look quickly at 911. 911 is the number of the fall into death. The first day of creation, according to the biblical Old Testament and the Hebrew calendar, is regarded as September the 11th, or 0911. This is the first day of the fall, and according to the fabricated story of creation, it was the day when the fallen ones, the mythological Nephilim race, rebelled against God and were cast out of heaven. Chris Angel implies that nobody could have predicted 9/11. In fact, there are hundreds of people who could have predicted it, if not thousands. Many of the elite of America were told not to fly that day. Marvin Bush, the president's brother, along with Wirt Walker, their cousin, were in charge of security through their parent company, Secure.com, for the WTC, United Airlines, and American Airlines, and their contract ended on September the 11th, 2001. The United States of America currency replaced the gold standard in international money markets. This had to be done to bring about a massive sigil, magic, voodoo, miracle-style event. The event was the World Trade Center attack of 2001. The money issued with all the sigil magic markers and subliminal suggestions were created for the 2001 series and came into circulation in late 2000. The combined energy hype from the Y2K fiasco had already placed the population of the industrialized world in a hypnotic trance, which was deep enough to react to and be manipulated by the sigil symbolism and suggestion in the 2001 series of bills. These dates and numbers are extremely symbolic, in that the Hebrew calendar has September the 11th, or 9/11, as the first day of creation. This date originates with the conjuring up thought process, and the Old Testament is just one of their holy books. The fabricated Hebrew nation, in conjunction with what would eventually include Christianity and Islam, together became the children of Abraham and the duality religion of manipulation. Below we have the USA $1 bill. In the top right corner, nestled gently in the top left corner of the shield around the number 1, you'll find a miniature owl. You can't see it without magnifying it, but subconsciously you see it, and your DNA energy code, or put another way, the subconscious mind, registers the subliminal. The large owl seeing eye. Now, look at this one at a distance. Step back a few feet from your monitor if you need to, and it will become extremely obvious that the owl is the intended subject. Do you see the owl's face? George Washington's face is the top beak. His throat is the bottom beak. The eyes are offset and in different colors so as to give the lifelike 3D realistic feeling. Remember, everything within the 3D illusory trance state is designed to implant all of the subliminal messages that in fact not only manipulate this illusory plane according to the agenda, but actually conjures up the 3D realm that we're convinced is real. 666 has been suggested since its inception in the cradle of civilization, used by religious groups throughout the world to establish the notion of an antichrist, a beast, and a monster devil. The number 666 to those with Christian roots represents the devil, Satan, the beast, portrayed by Christianity as the spirit of evil and promoted by Satanists like Aleister Crowley, 666 actually represents the anti-logos, the unreason, which leads to all forms of evil. It is the child of evil, the child of destruction, who is a deadly enemy of knowledge, wisdom, and truth, an enemy of love, peace, reverence, and harmony. It is the anti-logos in a myriad of forms. The Washington Monument is 666 feet in total. The World Trade Center was built in exactly 6.66 years. And the endless amount of 666 symbolism abounds throughout the 3D experience, all with the intent of implanting subliminal sick into our minds, so that through disease and suffering the thinkers might gain control of our focus. They love playing with numbers.
It says in the book of Revelations is that the number of the beast is 666. That every barcode, except for postal barcodes, on this planet contains the number 666. And did you know that? You've got three sets in effect of double lines, one in the middle, one either side. And those double lines represent the number 6 in barcode technology. So you've got 666. On every single commercial barcode and every product. And there are a few people around who produce little stickers that you can put on barcodes to maze them, to stop they claim that there is a malign energy coming out of all barcodes, a poisonous sort of etheric field, and you put numbers on them to maze them.
Recoding sigils, symbolism, and objects. A person can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. The ruling bloodlines knew about these thought forms, and through rituals, thoughts, and incantations projected the intent thought within a symbol, a sigil, numbers, alphabet, and any object they desire to charge. For example, say I have created an object or a sigil. I want to now project a particular thought to the object or sigil. So I do this in a particular way. Now, the sigil is charged. A thought at a subatomic level has now attached itself with the sigil or object, but I am only one person, so the charge won't be very effective or long-lasting. Now, let us see how the elite cabal do it. They know how to design a proper object, knowing the right shapes and what goes with what. They then get groups of high initiates to charge these symbols, objects or sigils using incantations, and through the centuries using the same objects, symbols or sigils with the same incantations by groups of initiates all over the world. The object then becomes very powerful, and when this object is viewed, the intent thought attached to this object or symbolism forms the subliminal messaging we receive that controls and affects our day-to-day life. We are conditioned to see and still not see what we're seeing. These rituals were preformed inside a pyramid where cosmic energy from the ether is drawn down at 1/3 of the base of the pyramid. A crystal is fixed at the apex of the pyramid that multiplies and distributes the cosmic energy throughout the pyramid, where the initiates sit around the floor in certain positions and thought is projected into the sigil, object or symbol. The alphabet and number system sigils were pre-formed that way. The English alphabet formed about 600 years ago and was perfected for powerful subliminal attachments. We're looking at the language from a non-scientific point of view. You'll never see what they're up to if you approach it scientifically. The sounds and shapes of the letters of the English alphabet all have special primary characteristics. A, of course, is a pyramid with a separated capstone. This lets you know how important the pyramid and the triangle are to the whole system to hold down the primary position. This is alpha, the beginning. This is the first syllable of the word alphabet. They also know the power of the shape of a triangle trajectory. This is why the triangle pyramid is the strongest symbol or shape associated with the mind. This is a three-dimensional world, where the number 3 is repeated endlessly throughout this illusory plane. Why? Because 3D causes everything to have a believability perspective when perceived by our 5 senses. When the triangle is placed in a circle, it becomes very powerful.
Is that necessary? I mean, the triangle is the strongest structure in nature.
Another symbol is the hexagon, which is the form of 2 overlapping triangles, which have been created by the electrons orbiting the proton and neutron. This hexagon is the hex placed on humanity through the adoration of the mother woman. This has been implanted through the thought process of this unseen group of thinkers.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8,
The octagon. This powerful symbol has 8 sides. 8 is the number of control. It is not at all a coincidence that the octagon-shaped stop sign is riddled throughout much of the world. It's a constant subliminal that we are captives. How extremely captive our 3D life experience is. The foundation rock in Jerusalem that lies under the Dome of the Rock with its 8 sides has been reproduced millions of times throughout the world over the last century. This octagon shape had to become part of societies throughout the world through a very complex process. Number 8 equals control, that the group of 8 world leaders of the 8 industrialized countries are most commonly known by their acronym G8. Quite obviously this spells G8 or gate, again utilizing the number of complete control. The myths surrounding Father Time, or Cronus, associated mistakenly, but mythically, with Cronus, who swallows his children after they're born, is the inspiration for the number 8, or 8. The major music scale has 8 octaves, and the piano has 88 keys. This is similar to the subliminal suggestion implanted with the mythological star god fables related to us through the 88 constellations, all arranged in 8 groups. Every shape, every word, every number has hidden subliminal messages attached to them. All sports games are rituals that program us subliminally. Let's take a look at sports symbolism. Take the instance of the soccer ball. We see from the energy grid diagram that the world, or the ball, is filled with geometric grids. The grid patterns form pentagrams and hexagons around the globe. We know these simple shapes are used by satanic thinkers to carry out their rituals. These rituals always involve opposition to awareness. Then, when you apply these simple shapes to the soccer ball and provide 2 opposing teams in a soccer game, somehow the message seems to get through to the consciousness that all is well with the opposing and divided nature of things. The egregore group of thinkers manipulate the Illuminati pyramid through a process of hypnotic mind control known as Kabbalism. The rulers of ancient Summer Babylon were the first to receive the knowledge of the Kabbalah. These leaders laid claim to the divine right of the kings to rule. This is the mystery. What actually occurs within the Kabbalah secret space, where matter can be manipulated one molecule at a time, is that the subatomic particles have spin. When the particles are separated and removed to any distance from one another, yes, even light years apart, distance has no effect, those particles that were once associated at close range will keep spinning in the same direction. Interestingly, when the spin is changed on one separated subatomic particle, the other separated particles will now change their spin in agreement. Sex, sex, sex. The world is ruled and the destiny of civilizations is established by the human emotions. People are influenced in their action not by reason so much as by feelings. The creative faculty of the mind is set into action entirely by emotions and not by cold reason. The most powerful of all human emotions is that of sex. There are other mind stimulants, but none of them combined can equal the driving power of sex. Every intelligent person knows that stimulation in excess through alcoholic drink and narcotics is a form of intemperance which destroys the vital organs of the body, including the brain. However, not every person knows that overindulgence in sex expression may become a habit as destructive and as detrimental to creative effort as narcotics or liquor. A sex-mad man is not essentially different than a dope-mad man. Both have lost control over their facilities of reason and willpower. Sexual overindulgence may not only destroy reason and willpower, but it may also lead to either temporary or permanent insanity. The entire subject of sex is one with which the majority of people appear to be unpardonably ignorant. A false belief implanted in the minds of the arrogant masses to have inferior complexes, which will develop that a highly sexual nature is a curse. The emotion of sex is a virtue only when used intelligently and with discrimination. It may be misused, and often is, to such an extent that it debases instead of enriching both body and mind. This is why they hide sexual subliminal in cartoons and advertising to oversex children and adults. This becomes a destructive force to the mind and distracts our awareness from reality to the illusory images presented to us. This is the process called hypnosis. Hypnosis is simple misdirection of reality. This is why the world systems are based on sex ritualism and sexual innuendo. Though very pleasant, they are very distracting and disconnect us from our eternal wisdom state if we allow our awareness of this sex-driven thought process to destroy our connection to wisdom and reality. All things must be balanced. Cartoons. The elite understand that if they use the words, symbols, colors, and the rituals associated with these, that they will unlock the power within. Therefore, operating from deep within this trance-induced mindset, they go about the agenda business, working the Kabbalistic secrets into our illusory daily lives, making the connection to wisdom all but a memory. One perfect example of this comes to us courtesy of illuminated member Jack Warner, a Jewish immigrant from Poland, who settled in Ontario with his parents and 4 brothers in the early 1900s before moving to the USA. Jack was the youngest of the brothers, who eventually put together Warner Brothers Studios, that today is a subsidiary of Time Warner. First off, their last name was not Warner, but Wands Kolasa. They incorporated their name and logo with the WB for Warner Brothers. However, all is not as it seems. Surprise! The WB is on a shield, a symbol of Orion, and a symbol of the Jewish Rothschild family. Rothschild equals red shield. These brothers were the first to include sound clips with feature-length silent movies. What they are truly famous for is the cartoon character Bugs Bunny. Once again, they invent a whole new tool to indoctrinate the illusory minds of children to conform to the desired reality they need to be established for their agenda to succeed. The hypnotic suggestion established with this character, Bugs Bunny, a B and G word, was that of war. if anyone has any bewilderment why the United States of America is so thirsty for war at every turn, check out the way the children were brought up and programmed for all their childhood years. Take a look at the mindless subliminals that were pumped into the innocent receiving crystals, coupled with the endless suggestion of the American dream, and there's no other possible outcome than to have a population completely obsessed with killing, conquest, and war.
Of course, you know, this means war.
Really? What sort of wholesome, beneficial suggestion is that supposed to implant within a young mind? Of course, this is nothing in comparison to what's going on today. Modern video games the kids are playing, purchased by their brainwashed parents, indoctrinates kids into violence, death, and war to desensitize their young minds in accepting what's going on in today's world.